Okay, so look devs are done and about to start the final writing here. So I have a look dev writing here, those two area lights, and the last write looks like this. So this was rendered with the these two lights, and I'll be start from replacing those write with the start from the environment rights. So I'm gonna hide it and create a skydome rights. So skydome right created, and in render settings, I've changed my resolution so that I can get kind of like higher height and narrower width proportion, just like the original like concept, and also somewhat like matched to this view as well. So again, like as I mentioned that at the beginning, I wasn't intend to like copy like one-to-one, but based on this reference, I was trying to create something closer. So that was more of an inspirational like image. So this is my current settings. The final render might be bigger than this, but I'm gonna do the test render with this resolution. And samplings are currently set to the 4, 4, 4. Or higher sampling obviously give me better coloring, but then it takes too long. So the final AA sampling will be most likely 5 to 6. And rest will be pretty much same, but I will stick with this until the final render. And then not gonna use the adaptive sampling, and then the filter is Gaussian filter with like small width. The default is 2. And I used auto bump in SSS because I was using the auto bump in SSS in the shader level. So need to check this on as well in order to get the subsurface scattering like works with the bump instead of a displacement. Because bump map is basically not the actual surface displacement. So if you don't turn this on, then the bumps likely ignored in subsurface calculation, so might look weird. Okay, so radars haven't changed anything. Same environment, I haven't changed anything, like all the same. And yeah, these are my settings. And then I'm using a smaller bucket size as I changed already before, so that I can utilize my like multi-threading a bit better. And all the rest settings are still the same. And I'm using AOV with this. I could use maybe a Z-depth later on. Not gonna maybe render out with a like foreground background image, but then they're fairly like flat, or it's not like have multiple depths in this image, or quite a like on the same plane in terms of a depth. So I think not gonna use the D depths, but then yeah, we'll just add it for now. So yeah, there's a whole bunch, but I find out only these are likely useful, and then check my render so that I can go and then check the samplings or change the shader settings, and yeah. Yeah, so those are all the settings really. Okay, and so the environment HDR. So skydome right here. So before, in case you haven't had any HDR maps, you can get free super nice quality HDR maps in hdriheaven.com. So if you go to this website, there's a HDRIs. You can donate if you want, but all these images are basically free. So there's like thousands of very high quality images they can use. Yeah, so just grab a few and then test out and find like which one kind of works best in your writing condition, or something that in your mind. So I've got the few already, and then these are all the HDRs that I got it from the HDRI Heaven. So I'm gonna open up my Hypershade. And then this is my AI Skydome, right? So I will just grab a few and then run some test render. By the way, I'm not intent to making a same light with the concept art. So and this, well, basically the face is replaced, and then the base bodies and everything else are painting, and it kind of looks good as is since it's painting. But then if I write this way, it's gonna be fairly like flat overall, so I don't think it look very good. And then face is obviously in different light conditions, so it has a very strong rim light and then more like side hitting lights. So I'm gonna maybe do something similar like this, but then try go with a bit more low keys so that I can have more contrast overall. There's also the website that shows up a bunch of different light settings. I mean, you can just basically Google the portrait lighting setup, and then basically it's for photographers tutorial, like how to set up the backdrops and then the light. Even though I set this up as exactly as I see here, but then it's not necessarily rendered out like this. Maybe something similar, but then I probably need to tweak my light anyways. But then sometimes it's kind of give me the good idea. How can I start with my lightings, and then what kind of light that I want to go for. So yeah, these are quite low keys, and I will probably go something like this. It's fairly like simple and then standard. Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, this one was quite nice, I think. It's a bit too dark. Maybe something like this looks nice. Has some nice rim light, the strong side light, and this side is a bit too dark. Maybe I can lit up a little bit more than this, but then I thought it looks pretty good. So maybe try something like this. Okay, so start with the HDR, because even though those are the studio lights, but they tend to, I mean, in my experience, those HDRs tend to give me very bright writings overall. So I will grab the lights, a few. I mean, can't really see the preview here, but I just grab a few. Then try do the test render and see which one works better. Okay, so they are all set to the allow, which is correct. So make sure, because HDR is a linear in linear color space, because it's mostly 16-bit image. So it should set to the linear, the raw. Right, so I'm gonna plug this image into the color. Okay. And then, just try render with the same camera, this one. So, render. And usually the first render might take a while. You need to cache out all the textures and also convert the textures to TX file if there's anything that hasn't been converted yet. So this converting stage might take a while, but then it's actually giving me a very fast render from next render. TX is basically optimized version of the texture. So start from the original texture size, which usually is 4K, and it's basically creating like 2K and the 1K. I think even 512 kilobyte maps all based into the one map. So loaded out different resolution based on the distance from camera. So like from this distance, probably render out with a 2K maybe, because it doesn't really need to render out 4K since it's not super close. So that I can basically Unreal can render out faster. Yeah, and then it doesn't look bad. I mean, can't say this is like super realistic yet, but overall, like shader React versus lighting looks okay. I think the highlight looks a bit plasticky here, which I might need to adjust. But overall, it doesn't look too bad. So I will try a few other HDR and then see which one looks better in terms of. I'm not gonna plan to finish obviously with one HDR. This is just a starting point, but HDR I think is important. I mean, it's just my workflow, but in my workflow for the character lighting, HDR is very important because it's gonna set the overall like color themes and overall like mood. So I tend to set up the HDR first usually. So yeah, that's the Quarry HDRI. So I just stop render here. Okay, and then store my image and by press this button here, camera button. So I can store this image so I can compare it in the future with a different render. And then I'm gonna actually hide this one. And then let me try render again without the floor plane. So it's gonna render out a bit darker. Actually, it looks better because it was a bit too strong in terms of the indirect light from the bottom. Okay, let me just stop and then store this image and then delete this one. Right, so try a different one this time. Okay, so I'm gonna try a few different HDR and then try find something that works better. I mean, mostly like, well, it's very different HDR to HDR, but then what I'm looking for is something that gives a nice overall like key. It's not really key, but nice overall colors. I'm looking for a bit like vibrant color like this, but then not too saturated. So we'll try a few and then maybe pick the one that works out best. Right, so I tested out there's a 7 HDR, over different light writing condition. So let's try compare 1-to-1, like one versus another. So this one is like way too daylight, right? Too bright, so I'm not gonna use this one. And this one has nice mood, and it's a little bit too red, but I think I can maybe use this one as a starting point and could be good. And this one is also too bright overall, so it's, I mean, it does look quite realistic, but I think it's not very good for like portrait writing. And this one is also looks very interesting, but it's probably not very good for portrait writing. And this one looks pretty good. It's overall way too blue, but I like the reflection. So I think it's pretty good as well. I mean, except that it's quite blue. And this one also pretty good. I think there would be great if something's kind of in between these two. But this one is more like less saturated in reflection. But then the overall reflection is very like it's not as strong as the other one. So it's I think good, but maybe the other option could look better. And this one, well, it looks nice, but then, well, this is also not good, very good for portrait writing for CG model. So maybe this one or this one, and could be this one as well. So one of these three. Yeah, so I'm gonna maybe start with this one. It's the second one. Which is this one, yeah. Then at this point, I'm gonna increase the sampling a little bit. So set to the 4, and I can cure the background. So I can set to this camera section to 0. Then this one won't be rendered out with the background. So yeah, let me just do that. And then there's also other option under hardware texturing. So if I set to 0, then I don't even see those images in viewport. So that just grab it and then put it into the layer, like HDRI, save, and then I can't even select it now. So it's there, but then no, I can't see it in the viewport. So only appears in the writing. So if I run another test render with the same writing, I will get only the body like rendered without the background. So like this. Oh, I was rotate the light, so it's gonna give me the different right direction. I should rotate this back to 0. Okay, so maybe start putting the actual key light by using area lights. So just grab the area lights, and I'm gonna stop this render, and then moving this light somewhere that I want to be key, which is likely left side or front left side, I think. Well, left side, which is the right side, screen right side. Would be great. And then I'll make it a bit larger. Small or large, it doesn't really affect about the writing intensity. It's only effect to the shadow. So As it gets larger, I will get like very soft shadow, and then as it gets smaller, I will get very sharp shadow. And normally, interesting enough, I'm not using the exposure as a main control, as far as I understand. So start 15, and intensity does its thing, but then it's the effect is very small to see. So usually, like exposure like 10-ish, then you can really see the lighting, how the lighting affect your model. I'm gonna do the region render. So if I increase to 17, let's see prior. I'm gonna lead more of the side. And then overall HDR shows quite like red in base tone, so I can use the color temperature, and 6500 is the basically white. So as I get higher, it's gonna get more blue. So this is basically light color based on the Kelvin temperature. And if I get low, I'm gonna get more yellow. So I'll try make it like something like 8000, so I can get a bit more blue. So there's a red and then blue sort of color contrast in my writing. I can get a bit more, little bit more reflection on the face. A touch more, I think. Because since the armor is super reflective, face looks a bit rubbery. It's quite contrasty, so I can maybe get a touch more reflection on the face. We'll do some shader adjustment after I place some lights. And yeah, this is the one HDR and then one right at the moment. So this front, this previous, and then current. Yeah, and then yes, I think it's not bad starting. I can try render out the entire body, so see how much it affects to the rest of the body as well. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna place another lights, maybe some rim lights, so that I can draw the hair outlines, because it's currently a little bit too dark. So this can be the key light. I can increase the exposure maybe a touch more brighter, like 18, and see how bright it is. think 18 works better. See, in other area, see. Yeah, I think 18 overall seems better. I mean, it's need to be really careful that it's not gonna be like washed out. So make sure that the most bright area still contains some information, not like just whitewashed. Okay. Right, so create another right. So I'm going to duplicate this one. Then place somewhere in the back. Right, so see how much it's kind of affecting for highlights. So way to right, and then doesn't do much on the hair. So need to adjust the position a little bit, like so, and then maybe down to 16.